The Battleface podcast is broadcast live on Fridays and Sundays, and we encourage you to come hang out and chat with Bard and Dare live. Now, prepare to declare attacks. You are entering the Battle Phase.
You over this?
Yeah, you can just kaiju over it. Hello, everyone. You have entered the Battle Phase. It is I, the Midnight Bard, your favorite bard, and I assure you that my co-host has not been harmed during the making of this episode, Dareinger.
I'm locked in the basement.
Yes.
It's been 3 years.
So he says. I have never seen him be locked in any basement. What is he talking about? We don't even have a basement here.
Please send help.
Please send help. I want to say hello to Brother Gamma in the chat.
I miss my family.
And it's appropriate that Brother Gamma is in the chat because a lot of the card game news that we have on this show today were courtesy of him. He actually did the research for that. So, you know, go, Brother Gamma.
Go, gadget research.
Go, Gadget Fortress, or whatever that trap card is called.
That's such a stupid... the trap card's not bad, but, I mean, it's not good either.
Yeah. It's not... I mean, there's a lot of new Yugi cards. It could be a fun thing. Could be... I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. Usually anime decks, it's like... If it's not heroes or cyber dragons, it's usually not that great. Yeah. But before we begin, please remember to like, sub, and share. It is the easiest way to help the podcast grow, and we'd like to reach as many people as possible. Otherwise, our hypno waves will not have the desired effect.
And we need those to have the desired effect so we can get sponsored by Subway.
Yeah.
Eat fresh. Not sponsored.
To our listeners on the podcasting platforms, welcome. And if you'd like to check out our live recording of these episodes, we do so every Friday at youtube.com/atthebattlephase. You can find us there. You can join our live chat. You can say hello to Bard or try to rescue Dare. It's your choice. But Dare isn't in any danger, so I don't know why you would try to rescue him.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places. It's my family.
Watching this week I was watching The Faraway Paladin.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, he was very far away. I couldn't tell exactly what was going on.
In card game news.
No, but so we're back on our isekai shit, bruh. This is the first time I feel like I've talked about an isekai in a while. Yeah, so, you know, he was hard to reach, says Brother Gamma. Yes, he was very hard to reach. This is the story of a man who led a mid-life, and then he died with all the regrets for being so mid, and was reborn in another world where he as a baby realizes, oh shit, I'm a baby, and then he is raised by 3 undead, a skeleton named Blood, who is a great warrior, a mummy named Mary, who is a great priest, and a ghost named Gus, who is a great wizard. All 3 undead were Yes.
Is the skeleton does he have like 3 arms or something like that?
No.
Okay, continue.
Okay. So all 3 undead were once great heroes, and they decide to pass on their knowledge to their newly adopted son, William. The world is pretty standard fantasy fare, you know, dragons, magic swords, sorcery, demon kings, etc., right? It has a pretty interesting pantheon of gods who seem to intervene within the world and with the people who live in it. This anime had a fantastic start, and then it became very mid. Like I feel like episode 7 or 6 or 7, somewhere around there, was like peak. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And then every episode until the end of the first season, because there's a second season now, every second all the way until the end of the first season was just kind of like, like the good parts behind us now. Like it was very good at the start. I don't know what else to tell you.
It was good at the start, and then it just quit.
And then
being
it
the
just quit.
start.
Yeah. Well, you did say the MC was mid. Yeah. And it's one of those things that, isekai characters are always OP, right? And it's that. Absolutely. He's super OP. But there's a right way and a wrong way to write an OP character. And this one sticks very true to the paladin ID, where it's like, well, he's a good guy, but he's almost too good, so he's uninteresting. Most of the interesting stuff about him happened during those first 6 episodes, where as a child with the memories from a previous lifetime, he is being raised in a fantasy world, and he's kind of coming to terms with who I was before, who I want to be now, and all of the things that I'm going to do to get there, right? After that, it just kind of gets like okay, so I've been blessed by the goddess of light, and I'm going on a quest to eradicate evil from the world. And everyone he meets is always very grateful that he's there because he's helping them. And every chance he gets to be a good guy, he takes the chance to be a guy. There's like no conflict, it's just the biggest conflict is at one point his elf friend gets hurt, and he's like, it's my fault, and I'm gonna blame myself for it. I was like, okay, do we have some darkness coming on? And then the next episode, his elf friend is like, I'm alive and on my feet, and you're being stupid. No man is an island. It's not your fault. Things happen. And then he's like, okay, I'm over it now. And I was like, well, wow. Just, geez. So, if would I recommend this one? I mean, no. Like,
Wow.
the first 6 episodes are okay. Actually, the first 6 episodes are really, really good. After he leaves the place where he was raised, it's almost like, okay, now it doesn't matter, But that's me, I'm sure there's a lot of faraway Paladin fans out there who are like seething right now that are like, no, no, Bard. Brother Gamma in the chat says,
you made fun of my niche community. I hate you.
Believe it or not, I caught a lot of flack during our power system ranking thing because I spoke.
As you should have.
I spoke ill of some anime, and like to my knowledge, there was a couple of people who were upset at me about it. Brother Gamma in the chat says that he would recommend it as firewood. Yeah, I mean, probably like the second half. Yeah, absolutely. The first half, I mean, you can read it before you throw it in there. But as I said, Brother Gamma did all the card research for this week, so we're moving into card games. Well,
on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles. Well, that was fast.
I hope there's more. Like, I want that series to never end.
I want more weird Yu-Gi-Oh. Let's go back to just being super over the top. Just as weird as we can get.
To continue uploading forever.
I don't know about that, but okay. So
he needs to.
And Bandai recently put out that ban list that we talked about last week. The one that hit all the red decks. And then a couple of days ago, they put up a Twitter post that was like, "Hey, Nevermind."
Yeah, that's a good way to like run your card game is to ban a bunch of stuff for literally a month.
Blark Moo says, "Go back to OG Yu-Gi-Oh." That exists. That there's different formats. That's all they do. But the thing is, we all know what the best deck in those formats is. So I mean, as much as I would like to say that OG Yu-Gi-Oh would be fun to go back to, it's you kind of have to curate it to give it some new cards, like some new cards from new sets just to keep it spicy. But
I'd
anyway,
just say you'd have to like say don't fucking play whatever Chaos Control or whatever it was.
yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog Chaos Control is a thing. Anyway, I feel like I don't know if this was because the fans kind of like were like, "Hey, Bandai, what the hell?" But it is the case that like they went back. They went back really hard on what they done because so they didn't unban anything, but their whole thing was like, "Hey, thank you for being part of the One Piece trading card game community. We banned a lot of stuff, but we hope you understand that in December 8th, the ban will be lifted, and you'll be able to play these cards again because by then the new set will have dropped, and things will be interesting again." It is basically what I'm getting from this, and I'm just like, oh man, this is not a good look.
Yeah, that's like, keep them banned for a while. I don't care if it's like a new set. You banned them, and then you're like, oh, we're gonna just unban them. Jokes, haha, funny. No
Yeah.
one's laughing. No one likes it, Bandai. You're stupid.
I feel like a lot like what this does is it shows the fans that if we raise enough fuss, like we can control the ban list. You know what I'm saying?
They did that in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well,
With a certain card.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Must I remind you every week that we don't have Mystic Mine anymore?
Well, you really shouldn't, but you do.
The people didn't want the Mystic Mine. They didn't want to have to play the out. They weren't skilled enough to just play the out.
If a nout was searchable, I think that would have been fine. However, there wasn't a way to search one, so I don't think that would have been fine.
Everything's searchable off sales pitch.
What does sales pitch even do? I don't think that's right. I don't think that's correct. In all honesty, I feel like the deck most suited to deal with it would have probably, and this is just me, just spitballing here, but would have been Harpies because Harpies can search two things that destroy back row.
Sales pitch. If your opponent adds a card from deck to the hand, except by drawing them, reveal one card from your deck, add it to your hand.
Interesting. Okay, is that card banned? That feels like it should be banned.
No, it's a trap card from Ignition Assault, so it's like super old.
Okay, so in that case, no. So anyway, the new.
It's got some other words on it, but I chose to not read the other words.
I see.
You'd argue with me, and I don't need you to think you're better.
I see.
Because I'm better. I'm better. I'm the greatest.
Yeah, of course, Dare. Absolutely. But the new set OP05 will come with like 6 new leaders, 2 of which I think have already proven that they're going to be fantastic in the new meta, which will be Enel and Purple Luffy. So I guess Bandai is all like, okay, when these come out, the meta's going to shift really hard, so then you guys can have all your stuff back. And I'm like, that... Oh, like, because in my head, like the example that I put on here would be like, would be like if Konami was like, hey, there's a lot of special summoning going on right now, so we're gonna ban Max C. But next set is all Fluanderies and Monarch, so you can have Max C back. It's just, it feels really wrong. One of the more common complaints that I saw around the community was that if it was intended to balance the format, it happened too late because a new format is just over the horizon. So like, if anything, this ban list should have happened sooner for it to make sense. But since it happened so late in this particular format, it just feels unnecessary.
Okay, let's be completely honest for a second. When has any card company been on time with banning problem cards?
Yes.
If you even want to say like Konami is like good at, we had needle fiber legal for so long. We had Verte legal for so long.
The thing about Konami is that they do this shit because they want to make money, though. For Konami, it's not so much as like, hey, this is a problem. We should balance the game. It's like, no, people are buying the sets that this shit comes in, and like we have like what was it? It wasn't Power of the Elements, was it? Where DPE came out?
Uh, maybe.
No,
I
it was.
think.
It might have been something else. Oh shit. I don't remember. Anyway, point of the matter is like we have DPE coming out. Verte can make that, but if we ban Verte, then people won't buy the set that has DPE. What are we gonna do then? That's not how you make money.
We'll
So
ban the cards that are around Verte,
we'll ban the cars that are around Verte. We'll ban the
which is
cars that are
literally
around
every
Hulk.
fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it was one of those things. Like, what was it? They hit like Dasher or like what was the other one that let you draw two?
I
They
think they hit that after.
You think they hit that after?
It
I
was Burst of Destiny.
Burst of Destiny is correct. I said Power of the Elements.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like so it's kind of one of those things that like is sometimes they don't ban things in time for it to matter, but I feel like that's more of a we need to make money thing and less of a we need to balance the game thing.
Gamma agrees that sales pitch is the answer to Mystic Mine, therefore we can bring it back.
He didn't say that. He said it's a great
He did.
card. And also,
did.
I would argue with that. I don't feel like it's a great card. If it was in anything except a trap card, maybe. But
It also has the restriction that you can't activate the card that you add to your hand a turn that you add it.
well, that's even worse. I hate that.
Well, I mean, you're going to do it on your opponent's turn. So you're going to add like a spell or something that you can't activate anything like that anyways, unless like the only thing you could add would be like a hand trap that it's like, why would you do that?
I mean, I guess.
Just add the out.
I don't know. Like there's a lot to unpack here, and I'd rather just. But you know what? Like it requires knowledge. It requires skill. It requires knowledge. And you know where you pick up skill and knowledge? In school.
The skill and knowledge store.
You pick it up at school, Dare. So you're chilling out with your crew in the schoolyard, finding trouble, never working too hard. So Konami has added a Master Duel proficiency test to your Master Duel profile. You click on your profile, you can take a proficiency exam. And if you do, it has like a little badge that it puts next to your name that shows people how proficient you are. So
the thing I hate about this is for the questions, it only gives you 30 seconds. And some of the questions, there's a bit that you have to actually read to be able to answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone like me who is not the quickest reader, it's like I can't answer this, so I just have to like kind of skim and guess.
It is kind of a mess, and I gotta say this though, some of the questions to me just kind of seem like, okay, how does this prove proficiency? Like I've seen way too many questions where they like show you a card and they're like, yeah, like what is the level of this card? What is this card's name? Like, and I'm just sitting here like, this proves no proficiency. This just shows that I know what stuff about this game. I don't know.
This just shows that I know that Droll Lockbird has this for its defense.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a weird thing.
What is Droll Lockbird defense?
I don't know. Do you?
How proficient are you? Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking you.
No, I'm completely improficient. Apparently, I've watched a couple of. I haven't even taken mine, but I've watched a couple of people do it on YouTube, and it's funny because like the first couple of questions are so easy. Like, what's this card? That's Raigeki. What's this card? That's Dark Magician. It feels so dumb. It's almost
I'll
like
give you a hint. It's the same.
Who's that Pokemon? Yu-Gi-Oh edition.
I mean, that's literally like the first two is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you get to like 3, 4 plus, that's when it starts asking like, what is the attack power of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring?
0.
That's also Droll and Lockbirds, but you didn't say that.
You asked me for its defense.
So,
is its defense also 0?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, That's not something I knew. So I
What
guess
level
now
is Ash
whenever I'm,
Blossom Joy Spring?
huh?
What level is Ash Blossom Joy Spring?
3.
Why do you know so much about Ash Blossom?
Because I stare at its feet.
Wow. Well, thanks for joining us. This has been the last episode of the battle phase. I've been Dareinger, and this is Bard, the guy that's going to go to prison for staring at feet.
No, but like seriously though, the reason why I know is because I've run a zombie deck, and sometimes you have to use Ash as your tuner because like you
It's
just
a tuner, so I mean, it makes sense.
yeah. So you're like, I know the level for that reason. I was like, okay, so Ash and this makes a level 7, Ash and this makes a level 8, Ash and that like makes a level 10. So like I kind of keep my mind around that. Uh, Not something you ever want to do. You never want to be in a position where Ash has to be your tuner, but
You never want to
sometimes
be in a position where you're putting Ash on the field.
yeah, you never want to be in a position where you're putting Ash on the field. So, but the thing is, sometimes you kind of have to. So you just do what you have to, right? Yeah, it's also the case that she's a zombie. So I mean, you can make link monsters with it. Like you can make a Vendred Savior. You can make like vampire sucker, etc. Like if you just need an additional monster on field to do a thing, Ash Blossom works in a zombie deck. So yeah. Uh, with that said, yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. You do like a little lesson module where it's like it asks you a couple of questions, and then you do a practical where you go on ladder and you play a duel against somebody. And
Yeah,
it
I'm not a fan of that one.
it is what it is. It asks you to do some things, like it'll be like, oh, normal summon a monster, or like, oh, activate a spell and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then it's like, hey, tribute summon, and it's like, who the fuck? What am I gonna tribute summon?
You just play flu.
No,
If you play flu, you've done all 3 of those
no,
things. You've activated a spell, that's a field spell. You've normal summoned a monster, you've tribute
no.
summoned.
Get out of here with that shit.
And the other thing is the other thing about it is, so you know what this reminds me of is Duel Links. Duel Links had a bunch of shit like this, but they did it so that you could acquire gems. So like, oh, if you ever like did so many things that they required you to do, they'd give you 500 gems. It was great. But the thing is, like the more you did, the harder and harder it started to get. Like they would ask you to do some ludicrous things like inflict 10,000 burn damage to an opponent, and you'd be like, 10,000? They'd be dead at
But
8.
we only have 4. We
Yeah.
only start with
Oh
4,000.
yeah, that's right. And we only start with 4,000, so it was just like it was ridiculous. So you'd have to like finagle a way to keep healing your opponent and then dealing damage to them. Or at least that's what I did, thinking I had to do it all to one opponent. And as it turns out, it's like, no, 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 no. Oh, it can be different opponents, just deal 10,000 burn damage total. Like, so if you have 3 opponents and you manage to do it, well, there you go. But I was just like, oh my God, I thought you wanted me to do it to one person.
I'm upset that they changed the Qubit cards when they put them in there.
Yeah. They do that to a lot of things in Duel Links because otherwise they would break the game.
Well, having a creature that just can attack twice for 3,000, and then when you end your turn, it burns for 3,000.
Yeah.
It's a bit too strong for 4,000 life.
Yeah, it's a bit too strong for Duel Links, isn't it? But speaking of Duel Links,
Mystic Might's not too strong.
we have a new selection pack. It's called Singularity Warrior. You want to know what's in it?
No, not really.
Firewall Dragon Singularity. That's right. As well as what's it called? Vanquish Soul and Nuvelaze.
Oh, Noblaze is in it.
Yeah, Nuvelaze is in there. Which
Still not impressed.
it's actually pretty cool though, because like the thing is, this is a very recent pack, a very recent set. So it feels to me like at first Master Duel was taking its sweet time getting new cards in, and these days it's just speed running, man. So
We talked about this last time, where, well, I wasn't last time, but I'd asked you if you thought that that Master Duel was going to like be caught up with the TCG.
right. Right, and I'm not sure if it's gonna be caught up, but like it's definitely getting closer.
I mean, they're pretty close, unless I'm thinking Novelist is more recent than what it was. But
That was this year.
yeah, uh, they're
That was Wild Survivors.
yes, but I'm saying unless I'm thinking that this was more recent than what it was, where like I feel like yeah, it was this year, but it was like what March or
Yeah,
something.
it was
So it's
earlier this year, so yeah, like probably like the first quarter or like the second, somewhere in that.
we're not talking about like it being it, 2 months ago.
No, it wasn't 2 months ago for sure. It
Yeah.
was earlier this year. That being said, this does the same thing that they did with the Amazing Defenders, where they're giving us two archetypes that came in Wild Survivors and omitting the third because Transcendosaurus isn't in this.
Oh no, and that was the one I was looking forward to.
I'm looking for the Doodle Dinos.
Fuck, did those come out? That was the Battles of Legend that those
That
came
was
out
the
in.
Battles of Legend, yeah. I'm looking for
And
Doodle
we
Beasts.
only got two. Or no, we
We
got three cards
we
from
got
them.
three cards. We got Tyranno and Stego and Doodle Book.
When are we gonna get the rest of that?
No, I don't know. I hope soon. That'd be neat.
I hope so as well. It's so good.
It'd be super cool. I would love that. Let's see. So beyond this, we got a new secret pack. You as you know,
Beyond the pin.
yeah. As you know, secret packs are like that thing where like if you craft an SR or UR, whatever, it unlocks the secret pack that basically carries the entire archetype. And in this secret pack, we have Exo Sisters, and artifacts. Do
That
Exo
is
Sisters
a
work with artifacts?
combination.
Yeah, it's a combination, right? Like
No, they don't.
they
I
really
don't.
don't.
No.
I kept
They,
racking my brain. I'm like, am I remembering correctly? Am I not? What is happening? Uh, but yeah, I felt like Exo Sisters and Artifacts did not work well together, and it was weird that they were featured in the same secret pack. But I don't know. It's a thing that Konami did. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, that's a thing, Konami. Probably avoid doing that in the future.
Yeah, please don't. But so yeah, like the thing is too, I feel like this is a little late because I don't think Exo Sisters can keep up with the present meta, dude. Like for example, I don't think that they can do well against Purely. I don't think they can do well against Cash. I also don't think they can
Exo
do well
Sister
against
had
Sprite.
uh, they had like a brief moment in which they would be good,
Hmm.
but against like Cash and Purely and stuff, no,
Nah.
because like those Cash deals with banishing cards more than like moving them around in the graveyard.
Right.
I don't really know too much about Purely, but I'm
It
assuming it's not very graveyard based.
it does move cards out of the graveyard. And there's a couple of interactions that make it happen. Uh, I don't. I still don't, because the thing is the power ceiling, right? So Exo Sister being a mid-range deck, it can do a lot. However, against these modern combo decks, it just doesn't feel like it keeps up very well at all.
Yeah,
Like if your hand is cracked and they didn't draw that well, you're gonna pop off, right? I mean, that's just the same in anything. But more often than not, you're gonna be struggling more than you're winning.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Well, the problem with Exo Sisters though is aside from a couple cards that you can play,
mm,
it's a very reactive, reactionary deck. I think that's the word.
yeah, a little bit.
Because it doesn't really do anything unless your opponent does something
Yeah.
first.
For example, I used to think that for example, they do things whenever your opponents move stuff out of the graveyard. In my opinion, if it had been just like when a card leaves the graveyard, so much better. So much better. Like, it doesn't matter if your opponent did it or you did it, just as long as it gets done, I would have thought that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Because Ice Dragon's Prison, oh my god. In Exo Sister, that would have been insane. But the only one that does that is Martha. Martha's the only one that's all like, hey, did something move? Doesn't ask who did it, just as long as it moved, there we go. So, like...
There's a couple cards that force your opponent to move a card out of the graveyard. And,
right.
like, people, when it was first announced, they were like, you could play this. And it's like, but do you want to play that? It's not that good.
And I hate to rag on Exo Sister because that's one of my favorite decks. You know, like, that's a deck that I have that's built and you know, ready to duel at any time. But I don't know, you know, like, it's upsetting. Brother Gamma brings up something good in the chat where he says that Bestial is something that would trigger them. Yeah, Bestials would trigger Exo Sisters. But a lot of the times, if you're playing Bestial and you see an Exo Sister, you're just going to do different things. You know, a lot of the... What do Bestials get played in? It's never in a pure deck. It's like, what, in Dragon Link? Dragon Link and Branded. So, you know, if you see an Exo Sister, you're just going to go with your Branded plays. You know, what are you going to do? So... It's cool. I like Exo Sisters. I feel like this secret pack came way too late, to be honest.
Yeah, with how the Master Duel's been putting more and more cards in the game quicker. It's far too late.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, you can, like, if you're playing in low ranks like I've been doing, you could easily win with it.
Yeah, you can play some fun games with this.
I've not dropped a single game, and I've been playing Cubics, so...
Yeah, like, whenever we did our tournament here on the channel, when we did Light versus Earth, Exo Sister is the deck that I played. And, you know, I won with it. Did I win? I don't remember. I think I won.
I don't think you won. I think you cheated.
You know, you always think I cheated. That's what we call mad skill, baby. But... I think my win percentage with this deck during that event was actually really, really good. But speaking of percentages, if you play these, you win. So Master Duel Meta website has updated their card usage / win percentage report. Something's changed. A lot of things kind of stayed the same. So the top usage of cards as of this point is still Maxi and Ash Blossom. Over 80% of decks are seen using these cards.
It's like if you have them at 3, they're not a big problem.
Right.
But if you have them at anything other than 3, they're kind of a problem.
Well,
but it's also if you have them at 3, they're also just going to be put in every fucking deck.
I thought you were like anything other than 3. I'm like, well, 3's the limit. I don't know why in my mind I was like, yeah, if you have 6 max C, you're just doing great. I was like, yeah. What? I'm like, no, you can only run 3. Cheating. Okay, like,
the debate with like max C being brought back is you can either have it at 0 or you can have it at 3. You can't have it at 1 or 2 because then it becomes like that Saki one of, which is the problem that people have with called by.
Yeah,
it's just like
I think called by is fine at 3.
Yeah, I think that I fully agree with that because there's 3 cards in your deck that can stop the 18 hand traps that your opponent tries to throw at you.
Yeah, exactly. And since it's not a once per turn, I mean, like, hey, well, they ash my first thing? Okay, no ash. Or they effect Veiler my second thing? Okay, no effect Veiler, you know? And so on and so forth.
And they ghost over your 4th thing and just like, stop.
Yeah, like give it up. But the thing is, you got to keep in mind, I just went -3 though, because I used 3 different Call by the Graves in that turn.
Yeah, and you also have to consider that means you're at 2 cards in hand, and you're kind of SOL at that point, unless the other 2 cards are like really good.
Exactly.
Pot of Greed and then Pot of Greed.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is what it is, right? I personally think it's fine. A lot of people disagree. I think they're wrong. But, so, other cards that we see here on like, the top played, we see Infinite Impermanence, which makes sense. Called by the Grave also makes sense. Let's see. Triple Tactics Talent makes sense.
Really, I want you to look at this list and tell me if there's anything that doesn't make sense.
Uh, I keep seeing Underworld Goddess, but like in all of the duels I play, I have never seen her ever anywhere. And so
Well,
like
if you notice that the arrow is pointing down, which means its popularity is going down.
yeah, and same thing. You'll notice that everything that's like 30% or less, all of the cash cards are there, which really like makes you think. Because I mentioned during the Duelist Cup that I didn't see cash, or that whenever I was looking at the results, I didn't see cash in the top ranks until like number 14, which to me seemed weird because I was like, I thought this would be the breakout deck. But it looks like compared to things like Purely, people are just realizing, hey, this deck just doesn't do that well, and it's got too many things that'll stop it. A Nibiru will stop it. A Lava Golem will end everything that we do. A Winged Dragon of Raw Sphere mode. If we get Droll and Lockbird, we're out of luck. So
I think with that, like we talked about it on an episode a while back, but I think the problem with cash is that it is in a best of one scenario in this,
right.
And in a best of one, it's probably not as good as it is in the best of three because you can change up like what you're playing with best of three.
Yeah.
And with best of one, it's one of those, what am I going against?
It is what you said last time, yes. That you did mention that maybe in a best of one format, cash just doesn't do as well as it does in a best of three, and yeah, that's plausible. That's plausible because you have to build your deck to be equipped to be flexible, and the thing about that is you kind of have to like think differently when you're building for a best of one as opposed to a best of three. Because with a best of three, you always have the fallback that you can switch out your side deck for your main deck and stuff.
Which with a best of three format, like you said, you can switch out based on what you're going to be playing against. Where best of one, it's the next match I could be going against Purely, or I could be going against that one weird guy who's still playing Burdock.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, what was it? Whenever I was unranked, and like, I ran into like 3 cash back to back to back, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. And then like the 4th guy was Monarchs, and I was like, we are really high on rank here, bro. You're playing Monarchs? What is happening here?
You are super.
You are weirdly out of place.
Why are you playing Monarchs?
It was so weird, dude. I didn't know what to think about that. I was like, Monarchs, really? And, it would be the game where I bricked, like, super hard.
I mean, if you domain lock your opponent and they're playing something, like, heavily extra deck dependent, then fuck it, we ball.
I don't remember what I was playing, but, like, they were playing Monarchs, and I think I was on Labyrinth. And like, I don't remember what it was that I drew, but it just, I remember thinking to myself, this is not going to help. I think one of the things was like, I drew 2 Max C's, and then I drew like something else. I don't fucking remember. And the point of the matter is, like, to a Monarch deck, this means nothing. So it was just like, I'm like, I can't believe I'm about to lose to Monarchs using Labyrinth in the year of our Lord 2023. I was like, I don't know what's happening here, but I feel upset.
Yeah, and as you should.
Yeah,
as you should.
The worst thing about it, like, this is the thing that just made my blood heat up, is because I was like, okay, I know that from my end, I lost because I bricked. From his end, he's probably patting himself on the back, like, yeah, Monarch's taking down Labyrinth, baby.
No, I think he's well aware that he's just better than you.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, no, you were not better than me. This was a weird fluke, sir.
Well, good thing you had game 2 and 3 to prove him wrong.
Right. I mean, I personally like Best of Ones, but it is what it is. Anyway, so speaking of decks that do really, really well, and I'm just surprised that Cash is nowhere near on this. This is again from the Master Duel Meta website. They're tallying which decks are seeing the most win percentages, and Cash is not even on here, dude. It's number one Dragon Link.
There's one that actually kind of impresses me, and that's Gishki.
Oh, I was about to say, is it Scareclaw?
No, Scareclaw, like, so fairly recent amount, or fuck. They can't speak.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Scareclaw do good recently. Scareclaw good with new Vices Starfrost stuff.
Very good. Scareclaw do good.
Scareclaw.
Very scare, much claw.
It's because the white claws.
White claws.
People wanted White Claw, so they just settled for Scareclaw.
Just picturing Beast of Starfrost and Scareclaw Reichard, like shotgunning White Claws and chugging out of a jewel.
I'm so upset that took so much.
It did take a lot of effort. No, but what I feel here is, okay, so Dragon Link purely makes sense. Dragon Link extends for days. During the Duelist Cup, I went up against a Bestial Dragon Link deck, and even though I had every answer, they still won. Just because they could out-resource me. So, it is what it is. Sprite is still good. Even though they've gotten a few hits, it still does what it does. Labyrinth is Labyrinth. Labyrinth has been in the top 3 for a long time for a reason. It's really good. It's not as strong as the top ones, and sometimes it requires a very dedicated pilot, but it is what it is. Labyrinth does well, and if it goes first, you're just out of luck, right? Gishki, a lot of the times I see it played alongside Sprite, Gishki Sprite, because a lot of the Gishki monsters are level 2.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
because see, this is the thing that I hate is it'll put Gishki when it's Gishki Sprite.
Yes,
and that's something that, in real life play, they were like, you have to specify what your deck is.
Yes,
and so it's not Sprite and Gishki; it's Gishki Sprite, and then maybe variants of both.
Right, exactly. And
because I'm sitting here thinking, who the fuck is playing pure Gishki and causing that to be a meta relevant deck?
Oh my gosh, yes, I know, right? It's like, oh, Gishki, really? And I was like, no, it's Gishki Sprite. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. So it's a very strong deck. I've faced it a couple of times, and every time I see it, I know I'm in for some crap. I'm like, oh my god, here they go.
Well, I've faced the hand loop version of Gishki before, and it's hilarious because when it goes off, it goes off.
Right.
But if they draw a singular card in their deck, they scoop.
Yeah.
It's that Mecha Phantom Beast cult wave.
Yeah, and it is the case that Sprite just makes it so much more powerful.
Consistent.
Yeah, more consistent. Oh. Yeah, it raises the ceiling on it quite a bit. So I mean, it's here for a reason. Scareclaw doesn't make sense to me because we don't have the new Visa Starfrost stuff. So for me, I'm who is playing Scareclaw?
The rank 3 is still Baguska.
Yeah, the rank 3 is still Baguska, and you can generally
or link 3, not rank 3.
Yeah, the link 3, and you can still run Parallel Exceed, and just kind of when you link summon Parallel Exceed, make a regular ass Baguska,
You can double Baguska then.
You can double Baguska, yes. So it's kind of I see how that would work, but I feel like Scareclaw on its own is not. It shouldn't be on this list. It feels weird that it is. But I don't know. Maybe I'm unaware of stuff that other people know. Maybe. I haven't seen it, so I mean, there's that. For whatever that's worth. Next up, we have MathMech, and MathMech's really good. It's solid. And let's not.
You have circular at 3, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there you go.
yeah. So there you go. Right. It's just really, really good. And
Circulars, the Mathmex, Link, Code Talker, Adagnister, whatever card that there is.
oh my gosh, and I hate their Xyz monster. What's his name? Laplacian, the one that's like, oh yeah, you can detach 3 cards from this and return 3 cards back into their deck or whatever it is. Oh my
Like
god.
all of their, well, not all of their, most of their like extra deck stuff is just really good. Like Laplacian and Alambertian are both really good Xyz monsters, and then you have Geo Mathmech Final Sigma, which is just a towers if it's in the extra monster zone.
Yeah, it's so I'm so upset. Like it all comes back full circle, says Gamma in the chat.
I was gonna yell at you for that one.
Yeah. Well, you can feel free
Just
to yell
ban
at Gamma.
No, I'm just gonna ban him later.
You can't ban him. He's a mod.
I can unmod him and then ban him.
But are you gonna unban him within 4 weeks, like Bandai did?
Yeah, when the new set releases.
When the new set releases. But anyway, after Mathmech we have Runic. Runic is Runic. Everyone who plays Runic knows what Runic do. You know, it's.
I thought you were gonna be like, everyone who plays Runic needs to go away.
Also, yes. Let's just put up 5 floodgates and then just like keep recycling our crap, right? Like let's draw 3 off of our field spell every time and just be annoying. I hate that deck.
Good deck.
Yeah, it is a good deck. That's why I hate it. But let's see. And the last one, surprisingly, after all the times it's been hit, Flawanderies. Master Duel in particular has hate Flawanderies. Like for a while, it was 3 ban lists in a row that they just kept taking cards away from Flu, and somehow it's still on here.
Well, see, the problem is it's a bad deck.
Is it? It's surprising me that you're not answering me here, Dare. Is it? I don't think it is. It's a really good deck.
The problem is it's a horrible deck.
It does a lot of things that other decks do not do. So like, you know, it's immune to Max C first and foremost. You know, what's it called? M-Pen is a floodgate on legs.
They got my barrier statue banned.
Oh, that's why you hate it. Okay, well, I think me and Tri Brigade had a little something to do with that too.
I was trying to play Bird Up on in ranked, and because it was like, oh, you need to attack your opponent directly for one of your duel things. I was like, I'm gonna be funny about it and attack them directly 13 times with Ensemble Swallow or whatever.
With Assembled Nightingale.
Yeah, Nightingale. And then I was like, this deck is forbidden. It's because I played one copy of Paris Statue of the Winds.
Yeah. You could replace it with like what's the other card that they've been running instead of that? I don't remember. Kinkabyo or whatever.
Kinkabayo?
Yeah.
I played Kinkabayo.
Oh, neat. Okay. So yeah, it is what it is. You know, like Flawanderies is a good deck. It normal summons a lot, and you know it will either tribute your opponent's things, or it'll, you know, tribute summon for its own things, or it will return a bunch of crap with Ryza. So I mean, like, it's got a bunch of really fun options. It's just surprising to me that it's still here because it got hit so many times. Gamma says they run Slifer. Do they run Slifer? That'd be weird. I would love to see that.
I think maybe Gamma runs Slifer, but I don't know.
I know they were running that Earthbound Immortal, the Winged Beast one, for a while.
Oh, Kocharaska.
Yeah,
that one's fun. It blows up the board when it leaves.
Oh, I love it. So
I watched a dude use Black Rose Garden to put tokens on his opponent's field, and then used Union Carrier to equip Kocharaska from deck to a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And then, fun fact, that card just has to leave the field. It doesn't have to be a monster. So as an equip spell, he links off the monster that it's equipped to, triggering it, blowing up the opponent's field, and dealing 4,000 damage, and then he just does it again.
Yikes.
For an FTK.
So, I guess the last percentages that we have here, they have other interesting stats. They have a section that says win rate when played. So these are cards that have a high win rate whenever they hit the field. And I see Cupid Pitch at number 2 here at 81.5%.
The one that I see that catches my interest is Arctos 12 Chronochasm Valence.
Holy cow, I didn't even notice that.
Who the fuck is playing Valence in Master Duel?
You know what? At 79% win rate on that one, if you pulled that off, you know what? You deserve it. You earned it. But
it's an easy card to summon and everything. It's just you're playing Valence.
Yeah, and it made it onto this list somehow. It's weird. But for me, I know every time I see somebody put Cupid Pitch on board, I'm in for some bullshit. That is one of those cards that is never in a deck that's fair. It's always in a deck that does the dumbest shit. And so every time I see Cupid Pitch, I'm like, here we go.
Firewall Dragon, Dark Fluid, Neo Tempest, Terror is at 79%.
Yeah.
That's Link 6? Link 5?
Something that surprises me is the X Purely Happiness is only at 80%, where Denglong, First of the Yang Zing, is at 82%. Don't get me wrong, Denglong is great. And in Sword Soul, it does some dumb shit. But it surprises me that X Purely Happiness is lower than it, because that one's just an easy 8k beater that does 2,000 burn damage to boot.
The thing that I like about this is you can easily look at all of these cards and be like, yeah, that makes sense. I know that card is played in this deck, except for fucking Neo Tempest Terahertz and the Chronochasm Valence.
Well, where do you see Sacred Tree Beast Hyperitron? Who plays that?
That's it's the XC's one, right?
Yeah, that's the rank 9. Yeah,
that's in the Rika deck.
Oh, it's in Rika. Okay. I was
about
to say
too.
I was like, who's playing this? I've never heard of this. Average battle damage. Surprisingly, I thought that Grand Maju would have been first, but no, it's number 100 Numeron Dragon.
Yeah, Hyperitron is you end on your Rika Princess, the big one, Hyperitron and Bengal Lancer.
I gotta learn how to play that deck, dude. I have it built, but I do not know how to combo with that thing, man.
Yama, I'm gonna ban you.
But so number 100 Numeron Dragon with an average damage output of 10,490. And it's surprising.
I mean, it makes sense.
You have to go down let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get to Grand Maju with an average damage of 5,257. So generally, if Numeron Dragon's just doing a lot. I don't even know. This is weird because
Numeron Dragon's the one that it deals damage based on the ranks. It gets damage based off the ranks that you have on the field.
Exactly.
I don't remember what Neo Terahertz does. I just remember that it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny that it's on here twice.
Zeroboros does things. Geomathmic Final Sigma. If it's that's like I said, that's the towers if it's in the extra zone. But you also have to consider if you make it with I believe addition gives it an additional 1,000 attack.
Right.
And multiplication doubles its damage, maybe? Or multiplication does something. But then it also, if it attacks a monster, it deals double damage.
Right. Psychic and Punisher makes sense.
Yeah, that's the one that life point difference makes it big and spooky.
It makes it bigger, yeah. Look at the finisher rank. So finisher rank, access code talker number 1 makes sense.
Makes sense.
Scareclaw Tryhard number 2. Wow, that's weird. So this is just the top 10 going from top to bottom. So access code talker at number 1, Scareclaw Tryhard number 2. Again, Dark Fluid Neo Tempest Terahertz at number 3. Is this a new card? I don't know.
No, well, maybe,
I've never seen this card.
It came out in, I think, Magnificent Maven.
Okay, so it's new enough that I might have overlooked it, is what it is. So there we are.
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
It came out in Maze of Memories.
Maze of Memories. Oh, okay, so that's relatively new, yeah.
Negate any monster effect activated by your opponent during the battle phase. Why would you activate stuff during the battle phase? You can send one Cyber's monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. If you do, this card gains the attribute of that monster sent to the graveyard also gains 2,500 attack.
Oh, okay.
You can only use this effect of Firewall, Dark Fluid, Narrative, blah, blah, once per turn.
Mm-hmm.
This card can attack monsters up to the number of times. This card can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase up to the number of different attributes it has.
Oh, okay.
So you summon it and you use its effect because it also gains 2,500 attack is not till the end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
It goes from 3,000 to 55 to 8,000 to it can just attack a billion times.
I see. So what is it? A Link monster? Or is it a Xyz?
Yeah, it's a Link 5.
It's a Link 5. Okay. So it's a Link 5. It does all that. I'm gonna guess that you summon it in Code Talkers. You might summon it in something else. I don't know.
I have one in my Code Talker deck.
Okay.
But yeah, it's 3+ Cybers monsters. And since Code Talkers do basically run all of the attributes, it'd be easy to make that.
Yeah, okay.
But it's 3+ Cybers monsters, which means you could play it in MathMax.
Oh.
And we've had MathMax on the board a couple times now.
Right. Okay, I see it now. Okay. So again, access code talker number 1, Scareclaw Tryhard, Firewall Dragon, Dark Fluid, Neo Tempest Terahertz. Scareclaw Kashtira is number 4. Kashtira Fenrir is number 5. Kashtira Unicorn is number 6. That's 3 cash back to back.
Well, you have to remember that they're not played in their own deck.
Right.
Exclusively.
Not exclusively, no. I've seen some dumb builds that just run a Kashtira engine just because.
I need 3 Fenrir for my Nemlaria deck.
Oh, God. Next up, Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle, number 7. X Purely Happiness, number 8. Baron de Fleur, number 9. And Kashtira Arisart at number 10. So 4 spaces here were occupied by Kashtira.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I don't like the deck.
Me, yeah. It's fine, you know, like it's fine because it's not unbeatable. Like it's strong, but it's not unfair. So I'm okay with it.
See, it's not funny is the thing. And I like decks that are funny.
Well, I know.
Like you know what's funny about Nemlaria?
What?
You put the sleepy little girl on the extra deck, and then you banish the extra deck, and then you play Pot of Desires, and then you're like, oh wait, I have one monster zone open, and then you summon the sleepy girl, and then she banishes like 9 cards off your opponent's field.
Wow, that is something.
It's funny is what that is.
I feel like it'll be entertaining whenever it hits Master Duel. But speaking of entertainment,
that's all, folks.
Yeah, that's all for card games. So we're in anime and entertainment. We don't have that much stuff to go over this week. It's actually pretty simple. Reveal yourself. The Shanghai-based video platform Bilibili is cracking down on VTubers. Per Chinese laws and regulations, VTubers with a following of 500,000 or greater will have to reveal their true identities to remain monetized.
I mean, it's China.
It is.
It, like,
I was curious about your take on this because one of the greatest things about being a VTuber is the anonymity. You know, you can be a content creator, you can adopt a character. You know, like be that character. So being forced to kind of like put yourself out there too. I mean, like I feel like no, right?
we'll see. God damn it! I don't want this to be something that we argue about.
Mm.
There's the difference between you and I. Is like you care about anonymity and done that for quite some time now because you've had like your speaky, whatever it's called, words, narrating. You did narrating before, and it's all just kind of like a be anonymous and mysterious and whatnot. Where I don't fucking care.
I disagree with you. You should care.
Yeah, see that's the difference.
Right.
You've done since we've started the battle phase. You've done streams on here where you were just your little avatar. It's like I've streamed a couple times on Twitch since we started with my webcam because I don't care if people know.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, the fact that China is like you gotta give over your identities. I don't think they're saying you have to reveal it to the public. Maybe
And that's actually what I was thinking too. I feel like you have to like
I think
register it with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's the Chinese government who cares, and they're not like, oh, you're doing this for nefarious reasons. They're just like you have to reveal who you are so you can pay your taxes.
Right.
Because
And
China,
honestly, like if we like so for example, if this podcast actually like started being like heavily monetized and stuff, we would have to reveal our identities too to like be able to like pay taxes on that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's just how things work.
Yeah.
You have to pay taxes.
Right.
You
Now,
don't want to pay taxes.
my
Tax evasion is a thing, but
right
you
that
don't want to pay taxes.
that's a crime. But like
That's a crime.
what I was gonna say is what I feel like is fine about this is as long as you're not revealing the identity to the public, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like
I said, I don't think the Chinese government actually cares about that. It's more of just
yeah.
so
Be sure to pay your taxes, kids.
yeah.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
was the thing that happened. Secondly, the wait is almost over. They have dropped the release date for Arcane Season 2. They dropped like a little teaser trailer, and it's apparently coming out in November of next year.
Dota already had Dragon Bloods season 2 and 3, and it has completed, and I want more.
Okay. Well,
I've not watched Arcane.
I was going to say completely unrelated, but okay.
Like I've heard nothing but good things about Arcane. But
Oh,
at the
it's
same time,
excellent.
I'm not a huge League of Legends fan, and
You don't have to
out of
be.
out of all the characters in League of Legends, if they were to make like an anime out of them, like Jinx is probably like the last person I care about.
Oh, you have got to trust me
Like,
on this, Dare. It is so good.
Like I think the only person from Piltover that I actually like is Urgot, and I don't think that Urgot will ever get an anime.
I feel like you bring up Urgot every time that we bring up League of Legends. I feel like I always hear you.
Because he's great. I love him. The meme that for when they first released the Star Guardians, like the biggest meme was make Star Guardian Urgot because he's just this big fat like fleshy zombie dude in like a crab robot. And for the longest time, Riot was like, no. And then they did Pajama Guardians, which is like the Star Guardians, but they're having a sleepover. and they made Pajama Guardian Urgot.
Yeah, I know.
I got on League just to buy that, and I've not played League since.
But the thing about Arcane is that you don't have to be a League of Legends fan. You don't have to be up with the lore. You don't have to play the game. It is just a way to enjoy the League of Legends world without having to invest anything into League of Legends, which I like because I have a hard time playing that game. But I enjoy the art, I enjoy the lore, I enjoy the world. So this anime was a huge thing for me because I was like, okay, I can get into this without having to play the game at all. And I learned about new characters. We learned about like Jace and Victor and what's it called, Heimerdinger and Singed, etc., etc., etc. So
Wait, the Donger's in there?
yeah, Donger's in there.
Donger's in there?
Donger's in there.
I'm still not gonna watch it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
It's really, really good. It's got excellent animation. It's got like fantastic voice acting. Holy cow. And lastly, it's got some pretty sick music, dog. Plot's really, really good.
Because they
and
got that one band to do some of the
yeah,
music, right?
yeah, that's right.
What's the band?
Lil Jon.
I can't remember the band's name.
Yeah, it's Lil Jon.
What is it?
50 Cent.
It ain't Little John. What's the band? What's the band's name, Bard?
Imagine Dragons.
Imagine dragging these nuts across your feet.
Yeah, I knew you were trying to get me. I fucking knew it.
Got him every fucking time.
Not false, but anyway, it's got a really, really good plot. I mean, dog. I mean, this was a banger of an animation. I was just like, fuck yeah! Like, so season 2 coming up. I'm excited. It is great. But lastly, can you keep a secret?
No.
Secret Wars. Avengers Secret Wars is a thing that is coming in the near future, I guess. I don't know. I've heard about it, but like I haven't been keeping up with any MCU projects after Doctor Strange 2 flopped and Ant-Man Quantumania was bad, and so
what I'm hearing is superhero movie bad.
Well, the thing is, there's a rumor rolling around, and here's where it could get interesting. The rumor says that Avengers Secret War is going to be led by Tobey Maguire reprising his role as Spider-Man from the Sam Raimi trilogy from the early 2000s.
Is he going to do the dance?
He might do the dance. And Hugh
if he
Jackman...
doesn't do the dance, then it's not going to be good.
Yeah, maybe. And Hugh Jackman reprising his role as Wolverine, even though he's retired from Wolverine and he agreed to come back to do it for Deadpool. So... this is for me. I'm like, okay, will he agree to do it for Secret Wars? If he does, that'd be cool. But otherwise, it sounds like a little bit of a stretch. So that's just kind of like the fun thing. The Secret Wars storyline deals with like multiverses and stuff like that. So the MCU has been kind of building up towards multiverse shenanigans for a while now. So the idea that these two coming into the story and being different from what already exists in the MCU just makes sense. And I think it would be cool. Like we see an older Spider-Man, an older Wolverine, trying to save the world one last time. It's kind of cool.
Oh, no. The super movies are just, they're kind of...
Gosh, I watched, speaking of superhero movies that just make you feel like, I don't know, what's it called? So DC Comics or like the DC movies keep
DC nuts.
Yeah, keep trying to like make the Flash movie happen, even though they're having trouble with like their lead actor Ezra Miller, who just keeps going further and further off the deep end. So it felt to me like I'm like, okay, most movies would have quit after so many things going wrong, but DC was determined to release this movie in theaters. So in my head, I was like, this must be an awesome movie if after all the trouble they've gone through, DC Comics is like, no, you need to see this movie. And just recently I didn't see the movie itself, but I was watching like this YouTube channel where they where they watch movies with a high count of special effects and they try to figure out how they did it, right? Uh, and just the clips they kept showing were just like, wow, this looks bad. I am so happy I didn't see this. It was just like, oh my God. And there's like a scene where he's trying to save like, these babies who are falling out of a maternity ward in a building that's collapsing. And I swear all of these babies are just like uncanny valley nightmare fuel. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, I don't know, man. I
So
don't.
you're over here saying that we should probably let the babies fall.
Oh, you don't understand how hilarious this was. So like, like Flash moving in bullet time, right? So everything around him is going super slow. And these babies are just like in the worst possible positions to survive. Like he looks over to one side and there's like this thing exploding and fire is shooting up towards one of the babies. It hasn't reached him yet, but if he doesn't act, the fire will reach him and kill him. And then he looks to another direction and this baby is falling and this tray full of scalpels tips over and all of the scalpels are now point first headed towards the baby. And like all of them just have like these Final Destination style deaths, just like set up, and it's up to Flash to stop all of them from dying. And I was just like, oh my God. So, like
I kind of want to watch this now. Sounds amazing.
You could probably check out the clip of it somewhere on the internet. I bet you on YouTube they have like Flash saves the babies, like just the scene. Because it gets kind of ridiculous. It's like, okay, well, let me catch this one because he's close to me. The one that's going to be consumed by fire.
Flash saves baby scene. Okay.
Okay, sweet. So you found
I'm watching it right now.
But
Keep talking.
With that being said, we have reached the end of today's episode. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, sub, and share. Leave us a comment. Ask us what's it called? Questions like what's Dare's favorite color? And like how many colors can Dare eat in one sitting? The answers to both will surprise you.
Brother, this is bad.
Brother Gamma asks if it was CinemaSins. No, I don't remember the name of the channel, but it's like two VFX guys who watch VFX in movies and try to tell you how they did it. Like they try to figure out how the VFX artists did the special effects for that scene. It's actually kind of fun. I'll probably like name drop it in the next episode because I don't remember off the top of my head. But that said, until next time, I have been the Midnight Bard.
This is horrible.
And this has been the Battle Phase. Adios!
Why is the big... What? No...
So how you feeling about that baby scene?